Hello, if you're watching this video, it's very likely you're a fan of my channel, and I want to make this special video showing you 11 different bars that are very rare. You don't see them often, and I'll give you a little history on each one the best I can. And this is not a conclusive video at all, but you'll see some stuff in here that you'll never see anywhere else, most likely. So I have these bars in the plastic flaps with the resealable end, and that's for a reason. Some of them are actually unglued from the assay card, and I think they look nice in the assay card. So I'm just going to display them in this video that way. You notice these are all going to have the royal blue assay card color. When were those made? Perhaps in the 90s. So I'm not sure exactly, but I know the small royal blue assay cards were definitely in the mid 90s for certain items, but in certain cases they had two sizes of assay card, large and small. So were these made in the mid 90s? Possibly, maybe late 90s. By early 2000s, definitely a possibility, but that's toward like the late possibility. So it's very likely these really were from the 90s. So this bar, it's Merry Christmas, you see on the bottom left, but it looks like it's upside down. Here you can see on the bottom, this is 1 ounce fine silver and the PAMP logo. So this bar has a style that was definitely used in the mid to late 80s. So you see on the top, the PAMP logo of the Suzy, that box with the rounded edges. There's another bar with an actual date on it, 1986, that has this style back. So could this be as early as the late 80s? Possibly, but I really do think it was made a little later than that just because other examples of assay cards with the blue were made later. Notice the signature, it starts with a G. As far as the serial number goes, that looks kind of high considering how rare this one is. It's possible the serial number actually wasn't 2,496 made. It could be they just rolled with the serial number. I've seen that in cases where AMP didn't exactly associate that number with that design and bar. They just associated with batches. So it's a number of products made. I personally think it looks best on this side so you can actually read it in all the different languages. And it looks like a Christmas tree and some Christmas bulbs. So this is a rare design. You don't see it often, especially in the assay card. This one is the open wing falcon. This is a 1 ounce bar. You do see the falcon with the open wings on a pendant quite a bit, but you don't see it on a bar very often. Now you do see the closed wing falcon made earlier in the 80s. The falcon sitting on a glove. You see that in a number of sizes. Half ounce and 1 ounce probably being the most common. But that's the closed wing falcon. Now this is the open wing falcon. You just don't see this one very often. Occasionally you will get a sighting of it though. So this bar also has the Camp Suzy logo of the box with the rounded edges on the top. It is actually unsealed from the assay card. So that assay card is just there, and this plastic sleeve is holding it in place so it doesn't fall out. So here we have Napoli, and this is an Italian cities bar. You usually see this in a plastic clear assay mint card, and this is in an assay card. So that is unusual. It might not actually be original. If you look at the edges here, it was re-glued, and it is possible this bar just happened to be in the area of an assay card and someone glued it in place. I'm not 100% sure. This is the only Italian Cities bar I've seen that is with an assay card. Now, it did come to me this way, so it's possible this is original with the assay card, or it's possible it was in a different type of packaging in the past and someone happened to have one of these assay cards and put it in it. Either way, this assay card in itself, you don't see often. So finding one at all, it's old. So now this Napoli bar itself is in excellent condition. You see there's no scratches or anything like that on this. This is a really nice looking one. So it is possible this bar really did come in this assay card. It came unglued and someone re-glued it. So what do we have here? I call this one Lady Fortuna. If you look at the designs, blindfolded, holding seeds, spreading those seeds. Is it seeds or are those coins? This is like the other Lady Fortuna. So PAMP, of course, has Lady Fortuna, very well-known design. But here we have one where it's this woman dropping something and holding a basket of something and blindfolded. That's an unusual design. Now, I've seen this design in a few different sizes, a few different weights, and in an older style packaging. Now, this is the package, the royal blue packaging, and I do believe there was a batch of old designs made in this type of royal blue assay card. And the rest of the examples I'm going to show you really do confirm this point. So here we can see it's the PAMP Suzy with the box with the rounded edges. Most of the ones I'm going to show you do have that style. This one is very well known. It's honeycomb with bees. Now this is in an assay card. Now it's possible someone just put it in this assay card, or it's possible this really is a later making of it and it's original. This design isn't exactly as rare as you think it is. It's just very sought after, hoarded, and people just like to keep it. So people will pay more for it. Now, this design, in my opinion, is perhaps one of PAMP's absolute best. It uses the space to the fullest. It doesn't have details going off the canvas. It has everything on the canvas. It has the little bees, the honeycombs. The lady is taking the full canvas of the bar and using the space well. So it has a nice look to it, and people really are captivated by it. Because they're captivated by it, they just hoard it. They like it. Compared to other art designs, this one definitely is more sought after and desired. So this is the back of this honeycomb with bees. And the one you usually find does not look like this. It does not have the PAMP Suzy logo of the rounded box on top. It's a much older version. So you can see this one definitely was re-glued. You see all the traces of glue on the assay card. So it was re-glued, but this one's definitely not the original one you see in the clear plastic mint seal. This is a later pressing of it. And again, older designs were remade. And this is a proof of that, an example of that. This New York bar is another example of a classic design that was made earlier. So this bar was made in a clear plastic mint seal. And here we have it in the assay card. Again, these assay cards, I have a bunch of them that they came unglued, and I was very fortunate to get this collection. So I'd rather take an unglued assay card collection than no collection at all. This design has a lot of details. The flag, all those little lines. You see New York City, the Statue of Liberty. It's got a lot of great details to it. And it even says New York right on the flag. So the earlier version of this in the plastic mint seal. Does not have this back whatsoever. It actually has the kind you'd see in the Italian cities with mostly a blank canvas, and it says just PAMP logo on the bottom and some. This 1 ounce Lady Liberty or Statue of Liberty bar does not have a waving flag in the background. This is a classic design. PAMP made the Lady Liberty bar in a number of types of metals, and we can see in the back here, it doesn't have the box with the rounded edges on the top. It has the logo with no box around it. The serial number on this assay card is very high, especially considering how rare this bar is. I really don't think that's a serial number associated with the bar itself, but more likely a batch minting number. So as different designs were made, a new number was used. What's really interesting is these two Lady Liberty bars more or less look the same. Now there might be some fine small details that are hard to notice that are different on here, but let's just say they're the same. This side's more obviously different. On the right, you see the PAMP logo of the box and the rounded edges, and that goes and is similar with the other ones I'm showing you today. Now the one on the left with no rounded edges or box, it's interesting to see that there's at least one example of all these designs with another type of back being used. Another design you do not see often, I believe this is an Italian bar. It has a church, the bells, it looks like Easter eggs actually in the foreground. This side is very similar to all the ones we've seen earlier. Same style logo, relatively low serial number. And this is Mona Lisa. Don't see this design very often, for sure. Because this has the same style logo on the back, it's likely all these were made in a very short amount of time. The final design for today is Four Seasons. They're all looking in a different direction, and this is a very sought after bar. This version is a later making of it. It doesn't have the floral background to it. I really appreciate your support in joining me to review these very rare PAMPs. So again, thank you and take care.